should promote the full involvement and participation of people using their services in ways that enable them to be empowered in all aspects of decisions and actions affecting their lives. Promoting the right to participation. So let them say it the way they feel. Allow them to take part. They can make suggestions that will just become the magic, solving the problem. But if the service provider, that is the social worker, believe that he has all the knowledge, no, it may not work. If you are always the one bring your opinions to bear, it may not work. Some clients may not love that. They want to contribute. This is how I want it to go. In as much as it will work, allow it to be. Human dignity and human worth, along with social justice, are the centerpiece value of social work profession. So let them feel dignified by making their contribution, by taking part, airing their views. So that is another duty we owe our clients, our colleagues. Now, the third one, treating each other as a whole. That is treating each client as an individual. What may work for one person may not work for another. What may work for one family or community or group of persons may not work for another. So when we treat them as an individual, we allow them to feel free. Don't say, this same thing happened or this same thing happened in the other community. This is what we did and they all agreed. It may not work that way. Treat that client as an individual. So social worker should be concerned with the whole person within the family, community, societal, and natural environment, and should seek to recognize all aspects of a person's life. Then another duty is identifying and developing strength. How will this be done? Social workers should focus on the strength of all individuals, groups, and community, and thus promote their empowerment. Of course, even those who are seeking help, who are seeking support, they have some sort of strength that can be useful during the process of delivering services to them. So we focus on that and we work with that. There are some persons that can easily penetrate perhaps a social system and we let them come in. We will not, hammer on their weaknesses, use their strength. Can they speak? They may be the ones to be able to calm down a group of persons who were agitating for something, who are angry. Work with their strength. It will help a lot in providing services. Then another duty, challenging negative discrimination. Some persons may discriminate against their service users. We do not encourage such. We mustn't discriminate against them. The person's ability, the person's age, the cultural background, gender, marital status, sex, socioeconomic status, political opinion, skin color, race, and all that. Even if they are deformed, their disability is not a reason for us to discriminate against them. So we challenge it if others do it. We also recognize diversity. What does this mean? Social workers should recognize and respect the ethnic and cultural diversity of the society in which they practice. What is believed in my area may not be the same thing that is believed in another, perhaps my client's area or another social work area. So our cultural belief shouldn't be a reason for us not practicing right. Cultures are different, so there is diversity. If we recognize this, it will help us to work with different persons from different backgrounds. Other duties include distributing resources equitably. It has to do with fairness and justice. Like we had mentioned earlier, we must treat our people, our clients or service users respectfully, with all amount of fairness, with justice. Imagine that if we were the persons looking for this assistance or support or help or these services, we would have loved to be treated this way. So if we are in charge or supervising when resources are being distributed, we must be sure that it is done fairly without prejudice. We should be able to challenge unjust policies and practices. This can only be done if we have knowledge about this. There are some policies and practices that are so oppressive and harmful, we have to challenge it. Then we must work in solidarity. What does this mean? Everyone should be carried along. If we are working with a group or family or community, be sure to carry everyone along. No person should be left behind. We shouldn't try to victimize anyone. Of course, if we do this, to an extent, we may fail in our responsibilities, and we don't want that to happen to us as social workers. I do not know how long this class was supposed to be, but I would love to treat one more. We want to talk about the importance of being a competent social worker. As you are getting knowledge now, the aim is for you to become a competent social worker. Am I right? Are we
Yes, ma'am.
together?
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Yes.
Am I heard in the class? Am I heard?
Yes, ma'am. You are good, ma'am. We are listening to you. Yes, we
Are we together? I need
Yes,
response. So
ma'am. We are
I
together. You can
believe I'm
carry
not
on.
talking to myself.
No,
Yes,
no, no.
ma'am.
We are hearing you.
Somebody's mic is on. We are with you, ma'am. We are with you, ma'am.
Okay, you are there. Good to know. Were you hearing me?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am. We are hearing.
All right, okay. So we continue. So we want to talk about reasons why we should be competent. Of course, I have mentioned repeatedly that for us to be competent, we must be knowledgeable. We must put the knowledge into practice. That we should be skillful. We should be self-efficient. Then perform our duties. We've talked about the duties. So why should we be competent? Why
I
are
feel we
social
should be
work
competent.
competencies important? I'm expecting you to say something.
I feel with the competence, if we are competent, we can carry out our work effectively. without competency, it's a little bit difficult in carrying out our work because we need the rules. And these competencies are as good as the rules that guide us in carrying it out. We don't get partial and we don't become biased. But if you follow the competency, which are the major rules, I believe we'll do the right thing.
Very good. In a simple sentence, it helps promote excellent practice. If you are competent, you are going to practice excellently. You will get your ethics, the roles, your duties into play when it is expected. So that was an excellent answer too. So being competent will help a social worker to practice excellently. Okay, if we are competent, this will help us to the support with ethical decision making. That's competencies, support with ethical decision making. And maybe by the time we move into core competencies, we'll talk a little about ethics of social work. If we are also competent, we will be able, it will enable us to show professional commitment. You'll be committed to what you are doing professionally. And it will also help us to be responsible for our conduct and practice. That simply means you are accountable. That is if we are competent. Accountability here means there are times, as humans, the possibility of making certain decisions that may arrive at a destination you did not expect it to. That's to say, there could be a clause. I don't want to use the word failure. What you expected it to be didn't come out. I mean, take responsibility. Agree that this is what really happened. You take the blame, then work to correct it. Do not try to throw blames at others. If this happens, it shows that you are responsible and you have accountability. It will help you to make amends where necessary. Then competencies to also help us to maintain a positive attitude. It enables us to take charge of our professional development. If we want to be competent, you are going to take charge. You are going to be in charge of your professional development. And what do I mean here? This is one way of developing yourself professionally. Some persons who are already working, you may need to train yourself. We know that these days, some government agencies, your establishment may not pay for your training. They may not, while some may pay. Am I right?
Yes, ma, you are right.
Correct.
You're
So
right.
professional development, take charge of it. Attend workshops, do some upgrading, do some short courses, certified short courses that are recognized. Attend workshops. One of it is what you are doing now. So if you want to be a competent social worker and come out to practice right, ensure that you're in charge of your professional development. Support with learning new skills. There are skills in social work practice that we use in the field, but there are other skills that can help us become useful when we are meeting with our clients. Social work competencies also help us to understand our role as social workers. I'm going to dwell a little bit on that. It helps us to understand our role, ROLE. Now, there is difference between role and duties. The role of social work profession is universal. That is, wherever you go, the roles are the same. While our duties depend on the agency in which we are practicing. Now, let us state some roles, and we also look at some duties. Can anyone in the class mention a few roles as social workers? Anyone?
Other
Okay,
colleagues
yes,
said like what the other colleague said, that the social work is a problem solving profession that facilitates resources to the
One.
service
So
to.
you have mentioned facilitator. That's one. I want another role.
well, we are counselors, and secondly,
Beautiful.
provide
And what?
linkages. Yeah, linkages.
Linkage. Good. Another role.
Mediator,
You say?
mediator, mediate crisis or conflict resolutions.
Beautiful. So now, with the few you have mentioned, it means you know your role. And this role, they are universal. They are. Role come into play depending on the situation you meet with your client. If you meet a client that needs a certain information at that time, at that moment, you will educate the person on that, and at that moment you become an educator. Need to facilitate or fast track certain things, you become a facilitator. You could become a role model depending on the situation you're meeting with your client. But you see, duties and responsibilities, these ones have to do with the agency you are practicing. Now let me paint a scenario. I want to use my agency as an example. I work with the hospital. One of my duty when I go to work is I go on ward round. A person that is working in the school as a school social worker, will the person go on ward round?
No.
Of course not. So you see, the role, I can become a communicator, an educator, a researcher, a role model. Anytime I meet with my client, depending on the situation, but my duty depends on my agency, the agency I'm practicing. So when I go to work, I go do ward rounds, follow up on my patients, come back, write my reports and stuff like that. But the role is different. So your agency defines your duty. Your agency where you are working defines your duties, but the roles are universal. I hope we won't forget that. It's very important. Okay. Now, competencies also will help us or enable us to establish and maintain the trust and confidence of our clients or service users. If we are competent, our clients will trust us and be confident that we can carry out these duties and they will love to work with us. Hopefully, that will bring success. All right, we proceed. We want to talk about the core competencies in social work practice. These core competencies, there are about 9 of them, 9 core competencies. And all this, we will have to apply them whether we are working with an individual, we are working with family, a group, or community. These core competencies is what we will always bear in mind. Now, the first core competency is demonstrate ethical and professional behavior. Every social worker, each of us must demonstrate ethical and professional behavior. First of all, let's talk about ethics. What are the ethics of our profession? We've got to know our ethics before we can demonstrate them. Can you mention some of the ethics of social work profession? Can we? Can we? Some of our ethics in this practice or in this profession. Okay, a typical example of ethics is confidentiality. You know, this confidentiality is so important that in all professions, in all, whether the person is a nurse, a doctor, a lawyer, an administrator, whatever, the ethics of confidentiality is always upheld, is always so highly placed. So, social work practice, there is also confidentiality. As we progress, it is even a major topic in this very course. So as we progress, we'll talk about it. Other ethics include transparency or what we call honesty and integrity.
And accountability.
You say, are we together?
Yes,
All right.
accountability.
Accountability, yes. Then another one
Fairness.
is, you say what?
Fairness. Fairness, ma. Fairness.
Fairness
Fairness.
or justice.
Yes, ma.
Social
Okay,
justice.
Yes,
Transparent,
ma.
transparency.
very good. So we know it, you know. Now,
Obey the
for
law.
you to show that you are a competent social worker, you must demonstrate this ethics in your behavior. You should live with it. If you have an appointment with your client, you've got to be punctual. You know, it will be sad for your client to come and wait for you for hours or even so many minutes and you didn't arrive. I know that sometimes some of us live in some cities that are really chaotic. Before you try to move from your end to where you have the appointment, you could be meeting a lot of traffic. But however, you must take responsibility. So punctuality is fundamental too. Keep to your words and show that you are transparent and you have some sort of integrity. Even our dressing, it should be modest dress sense, not revealing and provocative dressing, male and female. It should not also be high-handed that your client, who perhaps may be from a humble background, so to speak, will be overwhelmed with your appearance. Because you have gold everywhere, all your fingers, you lace it with gold. Your teeth is there, gold. Now you tint your hair, gold. You wear revealing clothes. No, that would be too bad. So our dressing and grooming should reflect our person. It should be modest enough so that we can meet with our clients. We should also respect our client. That is also very important. Respect them no matter what happens. Treat them as humans. Of course, if you were in their shoes, you would have loved to be treated so. So, this ethics is what we should demonstrate in our practice. Use all the principles of social work that we know, put it on, and behave that way towards your clients. Now, even while doing so, we must, you know, get to be well versed with some of the relevant laws that guide social work practice and regulations. There are some laws that we work with that help us while we are dealing with our clients. If we are dealing with a family, a child, a lunatic or something, we must know these laws. Do you have an idea of such laws that help us while we are working with our clients?
Yes, ma'am.
Like which of the laws?
Child right law.
I didn't hear you.
Child, child child right law.
Huh? You say?
Child right.
Beautiful. Child right law. You know, in recent time, child right is a global concern. So even in our neighborhood, within our country, in our own neighborhood, child right is upheld high because children tend to be the most vulnerable and dependent segments of the society. Do we agree with that?
Yes, ma. Yes.
Of course they are. So the child right law must be upheld. So child rights help us know what we are doing with children. And even when others do need help, we speak up for them because they are dependent and vulnerable. Okay, another law that will help us include which and which.
Tenancy.
Huh? Okay, let me mention others so that we move. Eh?
FAP, FAP law.
VAP law. When you say VAP, I may understand, but
Yes.
what about other people here? So what is VAP law?
Violence
Beautiful.
against persons law. Right, I
Yes.
mean. Violence
Violence
against
against,
persons right law.
yes, VAP law. So in the homes, some people have faced a lot of violence. So there is a law to protect such ones, whether in the family, in the community, spouses. There are laws to protect people from violence. We also have divorce law. Are we aware of this? We have poor law, the law that protects the poor. We have
Criminal law.
marital law. We have juvenile law. When we say juvenile law, who are these ones referring to?
We're
These are
referring to
underage
children
children.
now, underage children.
Yeah, especially adolescents. Eh? Okay, so the juvenile law. We also have lunacy law. Here, which people are affected here?
Psychiatric people.
Beautiful. People who have mental health issues. In fact, it is unethical to hit a person with psychiatric issues. But however, even though the law doesn't permit others who perhaps are well in quotes to hit them or to beat them, it will be foolishness on our part to see that someone who is not well psychologically is moving towards you to harm you and you are waiting, you are looking at it. So protect yourself, especially when meeting with persons who are um, mentally ill. So during this time, our ethics must come into play. Demonstrate ethical and professional behavior is one of the competencies of a social worker. All right. During this time too, social workers also understand emerging form of technology and the ethical use of technology in social work practice. Make ethical decisions by applying the standard of the Chartered Institute Code of Ethics, the relevant laws and regulation, model for ethical decision making, ethical conduct of research, and additional codes of ethics as appropriate to the context. Social workers should demonstrate professional demeanor in behavior, appearance, and oral, written, and electronic communication. So, we now move to the second competency. I hope we will not forget the first one. We have to demonstrate ethical and professional behavior. To do this, get to know the ethics, live by the ethics, know the laws, live by it. Let the codes and regulations guide you in your dealings with your profession or with your client. In fact, I will not fail to mention is that social workers also understand the roles of other professions when engaged in interprofessional team. Social workers don't work in isolation. Depending on the setting, they may work with other professionals, and that is what we call interprofessional team. If I may use my agency once again as an example, when we are on ward rounds, many a times not just alone, it will be a team of other professionals, and that will mean we will have a medical doctor in that team. We call it either a medical team or a therapeutic team. We have a medical doctor, a nurse, perhaps a pharmacist, a social worker, a psychologist, a dentician, physiotherapist, and the like, depending on the patient's condition. So get to know the roles of other professionals. Don't overstep your boundaries. Work within your own boundary or your own profession. What is supposed to be handled by another professional, please leave it for them. And do not allow others to encroach in your own territory. Otherwise, they will make you jobless. So we've got to know all this while, giving our best or when we are practicing. The second competency is engage diversity and difference in practice. Engage diversity and difference in practice. When we talk about diversity, it talks about multiple factors. And these include, but not limited to, the ages of our clients, their class, socioeconomic status, their skin color, their culture, their disability and ability. And when we talk about disability, it may not necessarily be persons who are physically challenged, but it includes that. Some persons are disabled when it comes to literacy. It's a form of disability. While you may be struggling to speak English, they may not understand. So that's a disability. So you may need an interpreter, a middleman, a middle person to help. Then ethnicity, gender and gender identity, expression, immigration status, marital status, political ideology, race, religion or spirituality, sex, sexual orientation, and tribal sovereign status. So these are diverse persons, diverse clients. We've got to
Tomato. Is that tomato?
practice with them. We've got to give them the best of our services. We want them to come out from their challenges. Perhaps that's the reason they met us. So we want them to come out better. We will not use any of this diversity to act awkward towards them or to discriminate against them or to stigmatize them. Social workers understand that As a consequence of difference, a person's life experience may include oppression, poverty, marginalization, annihilation, as well as privilege, power, and acclaim. So, because of what they have experienced, it becomes challenging. They have problems that may need our services. So, no matter their skin color or culture, we've got to help them out through these challenges. Also, while working with people in different diverse group or forms, know that at some point, because of this diversity, we or you as a social worker will have to learn certain things from them, especially when it has to do with culture. You may be best, you know best what is obtainable or what is applicable in your own culture. But honestly, unless you learn what is applicable in someone else's culture, you may not be able to give your best or provide the necessary services. You may try to, but some cultural diversity may become a barrier. So you've got to learn. So you will have to learn from your client. It is your client that will tell you, look, in our culture, this is what is done, this is what is done, this is what is accepted or not. Then this will help you to, put ideas together so that you can surmount that very challenge. If you don't humbly learn from them at that point, you may be working on coals. You could work certain things out and it doesn't come out with any success. Or we only, you know, end up coming up with other issues which we do not want that to happen. All right. So the third competency is advance human rights and social, economic, and environmental justice. In one word, it's talking about human justice, human rights. It could be in the social aspect, economic aspect, or environmental, but we are talking about human justice. How can this be achieved? Social workers understand that every person, regardless of position in society, has fundamental human rights such as freedom, safety, privacy, and adequate standard of living, healthcare, and education included. So first, when we know that they have such rights, we will be able to work with them. Social workers apply their understanding of social, economic, and environmental justice to advocate for human rights at the individual and system level. Human rights is what we are talking about here. Engage in practices that advance social and economic and environmental justice, facilitate team and coalition building and other collaborative strategies for promoting system change designed to reduce social and economic inequalities. So, in the social space, economically or environmentally, we must give justice to all, regardless of who they are. Of course, we've talked about diversity. So we will not discriminate against anyone because of diversity. Yeah, we have done 3 competencies so far. I will wish that we end this class here. When we meet next time, we will continue from competencies number 4. Even if I am not the one who may take this class, but if I should, that is where we will start. If Mr. Oni comes on board, he will start from here. But so far, what have we learned? Let us just do a little rundown before we call it a day. We have talked about the competencies of social work practice. I said this very course, the summary of it is for you to become competent, and when you are competent, you will be able to do what? You'll be able to provide high quality services for our clients. That means we're putting our skills and knowledge into use. And we have talked about the duties of social workers. Our duties and roles are two different things. I hope we will not forget. Our role is universal, and we can, exhibit it depending on the situation or circumstances we meet with our client. But our duties is defined by the agency in which we practice. Now, we know that there are three kinds of resource system in which social workers exhibit their skills: the informal or natural resource system, the formal resource system, the social resource system. Then we have the purpose of our profession. Social work has a purpose. Don't forget what the purpose is. Like when is it Nwosu mentioned, she talked so much and mentioned well-being, providing services for our clients, giving them information and all that. So the purpose of social work is very important. We also talked about the duties to both our client and fellow social workers. We mentioned a lot of them. Then we move down to reasons why a social worker should be competent. One of it is for accountability and for excellent practice. We had mentioned that you should be, or I should be, in charge of my professional development, not waiting for my agency. Then we started the core competencies. I had mentioned that we have 9 of them. We have done 3 so far at the moment. The first one is ethical and professional behavior. We must demonstrate it. So we must first of all know our ethics, know the laws that guide our profession and practice it right. We now talked about diversity. All persons should be treated fairly because it has to do with multiple factors. We do not have to discriminate against anyone. Then the second competency, or the third, was advanced human rights. It has to do completely with human rights in all spheres, whether it is in the social space, economic space, or the environmental space. So this is where we will draw the curtain. But if you have any question in relation to what we have just done now, feel free to ask. Otherwise, in the next 2 minutes, we are going to close. Any question?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Wosu, yeah,
Okay, ma'am.
go
Yeah,
ahead.
the question is on the law of some of the laws we have when practicing social work. I know you mentioned a law, but I didn't really get the full. It has to do with a psychiatric law, and you might mention of a normal human being having a problem with a mentally deranged individual. In a situation, because I've witnessed one, and social work is all about practical. I've witnessed a situation where a madman hits somebody on the eye, even when the person is avoiding it. The person saw that the madman is, at that point, he was quite violent and he was running away. The madman kept on chasing him and used a stick to pierce his eyes. In that situation, if the person tries to retaliate, would the law hold such an individual?
Thank you
Because
very
it's
much for that
confusing.
question. Yeah,
That's a very
uh,
serious case.
that's very serious. But that's why I said it would be folly for one to wait and allow a person,
Uh-huh.
if I may use the word, who is a lunatic, who is mentally unwell, to harm you. It will be folly. There is something called self-defense. Did you hear me?
Yes, ma.
Yes, ma, we're hearing you.
Uh-huh. I worked in the psychiatric clinic. I've worked there for, I think, 13 years.
Wow.
So there's something called self-defense. So if in a typical setting, that's in the psychiatric hospital or in the psychiatric clinic, typically in the hospital, because ours is only a clinic in the teaching hospital, but we have the psychiatric hospital. Then we have what is called, there's a name they give to emergency men. There are people who are on standby to help protect or prevent our mentally ill persons from hurting others. So you will not wait. He's pursuing you. You run and you wait for him to come and hit you. Can't you protect yourself, for crying out loud? Don't quote me, oh, but there is something called self-defense.
But I
Do you
know they
understand
said,
that?
sorry about, because this person now is a bit advanced, and the madman is young. And you know, a younger person can overpower somebody
Overpower an
that is,
elderly.
yeah, because he
Yes,
saw
at
that the
that
madman
point,
was coming towards him, and he was running, shouting for help, running,
and
because at that
nobody
point,
came.
nobody came to rescue him
Nobody, because they're afraid.
because he
Well,
was
I think that's a typical scenario, but not as agile as we will be, and the person will pursue us. I mean, there are things you can do to help yourself from that situation.
road. It was when the
We are not
madman has hit him,
expected
people
to
now
hit
came
them.
to help him out.
Uh-huh.
So, but the person has been injured until today. Because if I was even the one that came across it, as a social worker, I had to raise alarm. They carried that man to teaching hospital for immediate treatment. 'Cause the
She,
road is
the
a very,
person did not offend the madman. The madman just
it is
attacked him.
not. Is that man
No, that
is a
yeah,
violent.
it happens like that. You don't need to offend
They
them.
should arrest him now. They should be able to get people to take that madman from the street and go
No,
and keep him in the mental home.
a very violent madman. As in, if you're walking on that road, you'll be very careful. If I see him there, in fact, I will take 360. I will turn 360.
But wait,
Exactly.
as a
Now,
social worker, I believe that the social worker should go to the extent of going to the mental home to report such a case. So they will now send strong men that can catch such a madman and tie him up and take him to the home so that he will leave the streets.
the funniest thing
Eh,
now,
th-
after a while,
Thank you for
you
your
won't
opinion. Listen, let me tell you
see.
something. What you said, it's easy to say like you are
Than done.
saying.
Yeah,
There are policies, they won't come.
they won't come. Thank you,
They
ma.
won't.
Eh?
They
They
I am
won't.
telling you.
And you don't know Nigeria.
Okay. Nigeria hasn't happened to you. So they
Thank
won't
you.
come. It's sad that he was an elderly man. I mean,
Ah,
he a younger person knows what to do unless they are carrying real weapons. And it is sad that others only watched as he beat up the man.
ah.
Some people give them back to back. As you raise your hand to hit someone, they slap you.
Oh,
But what I meant is that don't just knowingly, when they've not done you anything, you just want to hit them. No. But there
no.
Yeah,
is
okay.
something called self-defense.
Okay,
That is my emphasis.
okay.
The lunacy
Thank
law
you, ma'am.
protects them. Some of them are just violent because it depends on the kind of mental disorders they have. Schizophrenics and people with BAD, bipolar affective disorders, are sometimes very violent. You understand?
Mm,
So
okay.
that man's case was typical, but a younger person will not have allowed that to happen. Where we have the emergency men in the psychiatric hospital, the moment they come and begin to rant and dare people, they only hold them tight. In fact, when they see a giant looking man walking towards them, they become sober.
Hmm.
So that is it.
Wow.
However, um, your lecturer is here. I think he may want to be in the class. So you
Okay,
just
ma.
give him a little time to come in so that he knows what to do when next you people are meeting. I
Okay,
was
ma.
trying to speak with him. So just give me a few seconds. Let me be sure if he's here with us, that if he has stepped in. Dr. Tere? Dr. Tere?
Yes, please.
Yeah, Mr. Oni just tapped on me and said he is now available. So maybe he could come in. I thought he had stepped in here.
Okay.
So maybe you can chat him
Yeah.
up so that he could say hi to the class and let me check out, like Andrews. Please give him a little time. He's coming on board. But so far, we have done those 3 competencies. And did this, what we have done so far, did it make sense to you?
Yes,
Yes,
ma.
ma'am.
All
Thank you
right.
very much, ma.
Please keep them
Thank you
Ma.
so
within
much.
you.
Yeah,
Read
ma.
them so that when you see them in your exams, you can, tick the correct answer.
Okay,
Okay,
ma'am.
ma. Thank
All
you, ma.
right. Let me
Thank you.
just
Your
hold
lecture.
on for. You said?
Your lectures was awesome. I enjoyed it.
Oh, oh, thank
We
you so
all
much.
did.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Ndi Freke, hi.
Hello.
Yeah,
Sorry, ma. You
Idris.
said something about their policy. Can you hear me, ma?
Your line is
Hello.
breaking. Be more audible, please.
Ah.
Idris.
Hello, ma. Hello, ma.
Yeah, okay.
Hello.
I'm hearing you better now.
Okay, ma. Thank you. You said something about there are some policy in place that when you are in need of people like to assist to pick such lunatic person on the street, there are policies that are against it that they will not come. I want you to try to throw more light into that, ma.
I did not say that there are policies that is there that they won't come, but I'm telling you that in our typical Nigeria, they will not come. If you want to experiment it, even taking um road accident victim to the hospital, some persons run away, let alone a lunatic. Even going to the police to report, the highest. Okay, I had someone who lived in a compound where the lady was diagnosed of schizophrenia. She has been seeing her doctor very well. She has been on her medication. But at some point, she just started picking on another younger lady. Anytime this one returns from school or something, she becomes her target. She ran to the police. One of the questions was, they answer a few questions and they got to know that she was a psychiatric patient. They didn't do anything. Highest, they told the younger lady to leave the compound.
Can you imagine?
So they won't do. Honestly, I'm not seeing them doing anything. There is no policy. I didn't say policy, but I'm telling you that in a typical Nigeria,
Ma,
nobody
you
may
are
come
right.
and let them
Yeah,
make a move.
it's true.
There's no such policy. Please, do you understand, Idris?
Clearly, ma. Clearly, ma.
All right.
Thank you, ma.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yeah, ma. All right. Thank you very much, ma.
All right. Dr. Tere, are you back? Okay. My guy is here. Mr. Oni. Mr. Oni, please, you can unmute and talk to the class. I think I can take my leave. Thank you very
No,
much, everyone.
no, you
Thank
can't.
you, ma.
You can't. Please, you can't take your leave. You can't take your leave. Just stay tuned.
Uh-uh.
Good morning. You can't take your leave. Please, you have to. You have to complete the thoughts on that. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. And
Good
let
morning,
me
sir.
just say my pleasant morning to everyone and to actually apologize for not coming on call on time. So I want to appreciate social worker Ibono, a very good colleague, and a reliable colleague indeed. And many thanks to Dr. Atere, the coordinator, and all the members on the members of the class on the call. This is just to say my hi to you. So by special grace of God, we'll meet tomorrow morning where you stop today. So until that time, so I thank everyone.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir. Goodbye.
Bye-bye, ma.
Yes,
Thank you.
Bye-bye, ma.
Bye.
ma'am.